COO of Prewrite.com, and today I'm going to show you the 10 fundamental concepts of audience building, and these are all based off of personal experience. So who is this video for? The first group of people I want to talk to are the folks that have always wanted to start creating content. They see their friends, their family, the kids that they used to room with in college go on to make awesome videos and get paid by brands and sponsors and all these like crazy opportunities just by talking about things that they like. And for that group of people, I'm going to tell you that as big of a psychological hurdle as it is to even get started, we have to worry about next is how to actually build an audience. And so the second group of people I want to talk to is you've already made the leap. You've already decided that I'm going to do this thing full throttle. You've bought a podcast mic. You got a ring light. You're just buying out Amazon for all the gear and goodies. But I'm going to tell you, even if you have a content roadmap that you've planned out, stuff gets a lot harder. And what you have to really understand is how to actually build an audience. So I'm going to show you the 10 things that I have learned from building up Prewrite's social media following and content strategy from the ground up, like literally net new account, open it, 0 followers, 0 fans. And I'm going to show you how to do the things that I did in order to get some traction in your audience building. So if you're ready, let's go. Again, all of these things are coming from the last 6 months and us building Prewrite, and these are going to be simplified and they're going to be fundamental. Really think about them as derived from first principles of audience building. So the first one is anybody and everybody can do content with the right mindset, the right tools, and consistency. We all have something unique to offer. And how do I know that? Is because we all have different experiences, right? So I can look like you, talk like you, have the same education, the same job, but what's different is our experience. So everyone has a unique experience, and we want you to get that unique experience told through the content you post and the stories that you tell. So all you have to do is find the one thing that's unique to you, bring it to the public, and someone will resonate with it. It's almost a guarantee. It doesn't matter if it's just one person to start with. That's one person than you had before. The other part of this is leveraging tools to create content and stay consistent is crucially important. And of course, we're biased on the tool side of things. So Prewrite is a content development tool. Prewrite helps you add structure. Prewrite helps you add really important first principles of storytelling to the content that you're creating. And why is that so important? Well, we said that anybody can get started with this, but that also means that there's a huge gap between quality content and honestly just kind of crappy content. So the crappy content is typically missing structure. It's typically missing really that interweaving of how stories relate and how topics relate to one another. So if you want to get started, Prewrite.com, it is free for your first story. You can go directly there, tell them I sent you, and we'll get you hooked up. But the other thing that Prewrite can help you do is also get consistent with how much you're posting. So especially for like vloggers and podcasters, and then even some more of the long form type content, we can actually help you build out a production schedule that's going to be what actually ends up looking similar to what a cable network looks like. So on Mondays, you have this type of content. On Wednesdays, you have the other type of content. And then on Friday, you're doing a little bit of Q&A with guests and community members and all that good stuff. So again, consistency is super important. And then finally, we're going to teach you to learn how to steal like an artist. And if you've read Austin Kleon's book, kudos to you. You know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, let me drop a little knowledge on you. There are no original thoughts left in the world. It's impossible. We've had the same stories. We've had the same ideas since really we were, smearing paint and blood on walls and caves. There's nothing new. And all that really ends up happening is there's just some little unique perspective, some little twist. Maybe someone looks different than the person who's been telling the story for generations. It's enough to make a new impact. But at the end of the day, every single story that we have has been regurgitated. So just always keep that in mind. Concept number 2, you want to play long-term games with long-term people. And this is borrowed from Naval Ravikant. If you haven't read Naval's tweet storm on how to become rich. You definitely want to. But building an audience is a long-term game, and it should be planned and played as such. So tactics, and really what we talk about tactics, kind of sort of referring to the people that join growth pods and join engagement pods, and they really want to accelerate their growth outside of what normally can be done. And while those tactics definitely work, they're not going to get you where you want to go in the long term. So instead, you want to focus on building community, building audience, engaging. The tactics come cheap and easy, and that's because everybody can do them. What really separates the wheat from the chaff is definitely the people that take the long-term approach and are the ones that are okay with not having to hit 10,000 followers overnight, because really those results are inflated, and you're going to end up having a really poor engagement rate over the course of the long haul. So always remember, the number on your follower count is representation of human beings, and if you only look at it as a digits, you'll build nothing but a dead following. Number 3, momentum is king. Much like all things in life, momentum is the ultimate leverage when it comes to this building a tribe thing. So I'm sure you've seen it. Something good happens at work, and then all of a sudden something else happens at work that's also good. And then all of a sudden you start to feel like you got the wind at your back and you're flying across a butter smooth ocean. The same thing happens in audience building. You got to stay consistent long enough so word of mouth keeps spreading, and then when the momentum builds, it's just like cruise control, which is an amazing experience, an amazing feeling to have. But how do you capture momentum? Well, if you come up with one excellent tweet storm and it's like retweeted and you have really popular people doing that, you have to follow that up with another piece of content, another insight that's as momentous as that one is. Number 4, you get to choose who you attract. And this is like one of the key insights I think you should probably take away from this entire thing. Your profile setup, your content, all of these things will determine the type of people that you'll attract to your audience. So inputs always equal outputs. And if you feed your audience crap, you're going to get crap in return. And that's same, no different than a diet, right? When I go to McDonald's, I eat a double quarter pounder with cheese. Well, guess what's going to happen? I'm not going to feel that great. And by the way, I'm going to end up getting fat, kind of like I am now. But the point is, if you want to feed your audience with really good content, you're going to get better quality audience in return. So again, post content quality and attract quality. Next step here is your network is your net worth. And besides momentum, this is going to take you probably the longest and probably the farthest in your audience building journey. And really the important part of this is you want to be human, right? So like we talked about before, the growth tactics, the hacks, those are all great, but they really are robots and run by robots. And that's not going to lead to the desired long-term outcome that you have. But when you provide solutions and when you entertain and when you act as an authentic and organic individual and you're true to who you are, you're going to end up attracting a much better audience in and of itself. So the more you do this, the more people want to help and expand and grow and see you win. So I think a good principle to take out of this is like the 51-49 ratio, right? So you always want to be, despite conventional wisdom, you always want to be giving more than you take. So if you come to a negotiation table and you're sitting down from the person across from them, it might be like common sense. Well, I want 50 and they want 50, so that's a good place for us to split. But I'm going to tell you that's wrong. You should actually say, I want to take 49 and they should have 51, because that little amount of gratitude, of indebtedness, that's going to go so much farther. So you always want to be giving more than you take. And I promise over the course of the long haul, that's actually going to behoove you more than it would if you were flipping the script on that. Next, again, tactics are useful, but nothing replaces an authentic personality. You can use every growth hack in the book. You can use every bot in the world. But if there's no personality behind the content, your account is really just as good as the next one. And that's the thing. With the barrier to entry being so low, anybody can stand up a new Twitter account. Anybody can create a new YouTube account. And what you need to do is really put your own unique spin on it. So if you're saying the same things as everybody else, The same style only adds to the noise. And what we want to do is really rise above the noise. Like, we're just inundated with the same messages, the same concepts from the same people. And in some circles, we call this, like, honestly, the circle jerk of content. And what you want to do is take a unique thought that nobody else is talking about in your way and put your own spin on it. And that's where you're going to see your personality really shine through. Another insight here is people always follow value providers. So again, if you are giving more than you take and you're doing that consistently, you will be seen as a value provider. When you publish your best secrets for free, you will be seen as a value provider. And what's great about that is if you look at the 90-9-1 rule, so 90, 9, and 1, 90% of people on the internet are consumers, right? They just gobble up information and they're just sitting back there. 9% are like somewhat passive, like lurkers, I would say. So they might engage with some commentary. They might post infrequently, but they're a much, much smaller segment. And then the 1% of people, are the creators. And you have an opportunity to be a creator. And guess what? If you are constantly creating and you are part of that 1% of the creator market, then you have a huge, huge audience at your disposal to do with what you may, right? So again, if you're that part of that 1%, and some of the stats that we see on this, like for example, on LinkedIn, if you're posting content, 1 million people account for 6 billion content impressions. Okay. So all you have to do is get to the game. And if you are providing more value than other folks are, you're going to win. Number 9, find the perfect mix of quality and quantity. Again, people are going to say you can only post quality content. Guess what? That's hard. You also have to post a lot of it. And not saying overdoing it. There are definitely different algorithms that are involved in different platforms. So like, for example, Facebook, you want to post every single day because it's going to end up signaling to the algo that it's not high quality enough. So again, you want to post at a consistent rate and a frequent rate, but not abuse it. So the balance between the two is really what's going to separate you from the others. You can have an incredible amount of intensity that goes into like one creative project or one piece of content, and then you've just drained all of your mental resources to the point where you end up not posting for 2 weeks. And what does that do? That gets you off your schedule, it gets your users off their schedule, and it's going to take a lot longer to get back to where you need to be. And then finally, don't stop learning. It's self-explanatory. Like, your experience helps guide future content creation. The more you experience, the more you learn. And people want to learn more constantly. So if you're using the same stale content, you need to get better inputs. You need to go a variety of different sources to get more impact and more context for different views. So again, people join because they want to embark on the journey with you, so you can't stop evolving. And if you guys want to see more of content like this, make sure you rate, review, and subscribe. Smash that subscribe button. If you know somebody would get value out of this, please forward it on to them. And if you want to see more content like this, just head over to the other tab and check out more videos from us at PreWrite.